Hey guys, Lisa here with Wilson Logistics, and I have Michael Parker here with us. He's a driver for us, and we're just going to chit chat and get to know Michael a little bit. So Michael, how long have you been with us?
It's been 11 years now. Last month is 11 years. I've been here. Started as training new people. I went through the company training program myself back in 2008, and
So you got your CDL
got my
through us.
CDL through Wilson Logistics, Wil-Trans at the time, and trained as for the first 5 years as a company driver, leased for 5 years. Now I've had my truck paid off, and I've been an owner operator for the last almost a whole year. So yeah, it's been 11 great years.
That's got to feel good that you got your own truck now. And
Yep. It's a real sense of accomplishment, and it gives me a little more flexibility to still be an over the road driver and get home with the family a little bit more. But yeah, I've enjoyed every facet of it. The training was rewarding at the time. The lease was a great deal, and I'm glad I did that. And now the owner operator is kind of like a reward at the end of the journey of the lease. So it's all been enjoyable.
very good. And you've gotten your longevity bonus twice now, right?
Twice, yeah. 2 giant checks I've got to held up to the camera, which is pretty cool. So we're working on number 3 now. Like everybody. I walked in there yesterday and like, oh, you working on the 3rd one? I'm like, yeah, we're working on the 3rd one. So we'll just keep churning out the giant checks.
Very good. So what has kept you here all these years? You got your CDL through us. You haven't driven for anyone else.
No.
What has made you stay here this whole time?
Well, there's something to be said for my work ethic, obviously, but the thing that takes it above and beyond is the atmosphere here. I haven't been given any reason to want to move anywhere else, because it's not only is it been financially fruitful here, but it really is a family. I mean, I know that's what we push here and we talk about here and so on, but it's not a cliche or a slogan. It's literally, I walk in here and I've known you 11 years, and even newer people that haven't been here as long, I've known them for a few years, and everybody's a familiar face, and everybody makes you feel welcome. And if you do have trouble or an issue, you know that there's an open door policy, and you can talk to whoever. And Darrel Lake's in operations. He's in charge here at Wil-Trans division, and I've dealt with him for 11 years. I have a problem, I know I can go right to him, or even talk to the owner, Mr. Wilson. And so there's just there's always ups and downs in jobs and trucking, but that's going to be at any company. And this company has just taken such good care of me and made me feel valued and welcome, and a person rather than a number. I was talking with another fellow driver today, Wayne Lind, who's been here 7 years. He was telling me, and he's paid off his truck as well, and his wife Candy, and that was, he was saying he worked for another mega carrier before this for a couple years, and he was a number. He comes in here, he's Wayne. Mm-hmm. I come in here, I'm Michael. It's not only refreshing, but just comforting, and just a really nice feeling to know that you're somebody, because this industry can get really large. Mm-hmm. It can feel like you're an ant in an anthill. And so for to be able to keep it personal like that and be a member of a family, literally, is you can't put a value on that. And that's why it's just like there's been no reason to ever leave, and I don't have a reason to leave now, and I don't ever foresee one in the future, because it's just been, the grass is not greener on any other side that I can see.
And we've grown a little bit since you've been here.
A lot of bit.
But you still feel the same as when you first started.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is. And even with the other facets of the company, I mean, I know people, I could go out to Missoula right now and have the same reaction. I only get out there every couple of years, but Skip's going to be there. Hi, how you doing? When I was out there a couple of years ago, I met our now retired safety guy out there. Never met him before in my life. He knew who I was. Mm-hmm. I can't remember his name right now because I only met him the one time. Dick, yes. Dick Horst. Thank you. But I mean, it's such a family atmosphere. People that you don't even know or don't even know you are like, oh, I know you because so-and-so told me about you. And, this is just, it was wonderful. I went out, and now we, Kirk, my former dispatcher and probably one of my, closest people that I've known here for years. He was my dispatcher for, 7 years or something here. He's out in Pacific Washington now. So now if I get out to Washington, same thing's probably going to happen over there. So, I mean, it grew, but it's literally still the family atmosphere, and it's almost like it's just the family's getting bigger. It reminds me of like a family reunion type atmosphere. Like you have a family and then you go to a family reunion and there might be like a whole lot more people there now, but it's still the family. That's kind of what it feels like to me. It's just a bigger family.
So you got your CDL through us. What about trucking? So is trucking what you thought it was going to be like?
I don't know. I didn't have any preconceived notions about it per se. It was in a position to where I had been at kind of, I live in Florida. Local jobs in Florida don't pay great. It's, that part of the United States is kind of, there wasn't a lot of opportunities. I was 25 at the time and, married for, with a family to support. And so it was kind of, I was needing more stuff financially. So I was just like, I'm going to get into whatever. I thought I was going to like it because I love traveling and I love driving. I didn't know I was going to like it as much as I did. And so it was a decision because of, there was no, and this continues to be the case to this day for new people. I can't tell you how many friends that I know that are in other businesses or other, trying to get started in careers, and they ask me about trucking, and I'm like, do it. The sky's the limit. You've got so much potential in this industry. There's growth. I mean, so many other places are laying people off or furloughing you or, whatever, downsizing. Not trucking, not this company, not anywhere else. I mean, you have your companies here and there that go out of business from time to time. You hear in the paper, but 99% of the industry is just exponentially growing all the time. And I'm extremely pleased with my decision, and I truly enjoy it. I have a lot of hobbies that are very conducive to traveling. I like to photograph trains and scenery and different things. So to be able to travel across the whole country is, for me, it's like a free vacation with, some money on the side. So, I mean, I just, not everybody's like that, but for me, it's just terrific. But yeah, when I got into it, it was more, I don't like change. So it was, I was a lot to take in at the beginning, but after the first, 6 months to a year when I really hit the comfort zone, it's just been, I love it. I love the lifestyle. It's, it's great. And even, a lot of people say, oh, but you're gone from home for so long. When I go home, now I can take a little more because I paid my truck off, but even as a company driver, even as a lease driver, 4, 5, 6 days off at a time. When you go home, that's it. You got those 4, 5, or 6 days. Nobody's calling you and bothering you. Nobody's asking you to come in. Oh, so-and-so called off on their shift. Can you come in? No, you have those 5 days where you park the truck and you can literally just detox from the life on the road and go home and be home. And I tell people, if I was working locally, you work 12 hours a day or whatever, you get home at 7 o'clock at night, you eat dinner, you're ready for bed, you get up at 6 o'clock the next morning and do it again. For me, I'm actually getting more quality time by having those 5 and 6 or 4 and 5 days blocked off where I can just completely I can spend a whole week with my family. I do whatever they do for the whole week. I'm just with them because, you're off. So for me, it's a real positive trade-off. Being gone for weeks at a time doesn't hurt so bad because when you go home, you can really have that quality home time where you're just immersed with your family rather than just being a sleeping person on a bed at night, after your 12-hour shift, which is what I was doing, working 6 days a week, 12-hour days at my old job for $10 an hour back before I came here in 2008. So, there wasn't much quality of life with that.
So, but you do still get a little bit of downtime while you're out on the road, and you said you like to photograph trains. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'll try to keep it a little bit. That's my passion. So I started, basically, I love trains and airplanes and anything transportation, but especially trains. And ever since I was a little kid, I was more into airplanes as a teenager. But then the photography end of it bit me kind of in my early 20s. I met a friend that was into photographing trains, and this is when digital cameras were coming out, and I started to get into that end of it. And that's when the passion started flowing. It's like I can make works of art out of what I'm seeing here,
all over the country too.
Yeah, the variety. I mean, humorous jealousy I get from my friends on Facebook. They're like, how do you get to see all these cool trains? Because, most people are in a specific area and they have to take vacations that cost them exorbitant amounts of money to get to different parts of the country, where it's like me, it's like, I get under the parameters of the load. I get to see, I saw a train in Kansas last week. I saw a train in Vermont the week before that. I was down in Texas at a steam train photo charter workshop for 2 days that I took a couple days off between loads down in Texas the week before that. I'm planning to go to Washington State to photograph a train in early June, and on and on. It's I enjoy it, and it makes it so much fun for me to be able to work. If you are stuck somewhere, you do have a little bit of downtime. I'm not bored like, staring at the computer screen playing video games or staring at the wall watching TV. It's like, no, I'm out there. I got a bicycle in my truck now. I've incorporated
Awesome.
the last couple years. And, if I'm at a truck stop and the railroad tracks are 5 or 10 miles away, well, take the bicycle out, put the front tire on, off we go. And so, it's a blast. I love it.
Well, you'll have to share some of those train photos on our Facebook page so everyone can see.
I think y'all shared one. You asked, what were you doing on your last restart? And I said, well, I'm photographing trains. Of course, I do that whether I'm getting a restart or not. But yeah, one photo got up on there recently, but yeah, I've got some really good ones. So I'll have to start dribbling them on there and be like, hey guys, here's some more train pictures. I'll have to pick out my favorite ones.
Mm-hmm. So, do you remember back when you were in the recruiting process with us? What made you choose us and come to Wil-Trans at the time?
I mean, it was the fact that it was so small of a company that was doing that kind of a program, which at the time, now things have changed a little bit over the years, with the training program. At that time, we were doing a 3-week course in Springfield where you would get your CDL through the company and all this and that, where you wouldn't have to come in with your permit. Now it's still great because even now what's going on with the training program, you can come in without your CDL and get it as a D seat and all that, so you're not paying up front. I know people that pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and go to colleges, and it's like, wait a minute, why are you doing that? You could be here, and not spend any money. But at that time we did it that way. But the fact that there was no money up front, the fact that it was a small company that was affiliated with a large company, which I really liked what we were doing, and we still do with Prime at the division I'm in at the time, because it was a way to get in to I knew a big freight network, because you go to some of these small companies that you've never heard of, and you're like, I don't know if they're going to be around next year or next week. I don't know what their freight network's like. Well, Prime had a good reputation as a freight network. Wil-Trans had a very good reputation, has gotten even better throughout the years. So it was kind of like, wow, this sounds too good to be true, because I looked into a few other mega carriers and different companies that were, but most of the ones that let you do your training through them without paying money up front are companies that have really bad reputations. And I won't name names, but there's a few that everybody knows. And there may be a few exceptions, but by and large, most of the mega carriers are not somewhere that I would want to be, even at the start of my career. And so this, when I got accepted here and after talking to the recruiter, it was a no-brainer. It wasn't like, well, let me think about it. It was like, whoa, it's like, this really came in my path for a reason. I'm going to jump on it. So yeah, it was really exciting to have stumbled across it at that point, because we were pretty small at that point. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of glad I did. I don't know how I found it, but I don't remember now. It was an internet search or something. But yeah, I'm glad I did, because I live in Florida. I wasn't even around here locally or anything. I had never heard of the company at that point.
Do you remember who your recruiter was?
It was a guy that was off-site living in Colorado, but I don't remember his name.
Okay.
But I know he was doing it from his home. He said he was a former driver that stopped driving and he lived in Colorado. But after 11 years, that has escaped my memory.
Well, I think probably 11 years ago, I think I might have been in processing, so I could have done your background check.
Yeah. I know one of the, I'm trying to think of who the main recruiter was back then.
Probably Mike.
There was Mike and one other guy, Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Brenner, was it?
Briner,
mm-hmm. Yeah. He was one of the main ones, but he's not the one that handled me, but I remember he was in the recruiting department at that time. But, yeah. I had, I got approved really quick. I had a really good, driving record at that time, still obviously, but even at that point for being so young, yeah, went well. It was a really smooth process getting started.
So, last question. I won't keep you here too long today. Do you have any advice for new drivers coming into the industry, looking to get their CDL?
Well, the biggest thing to remember is that, don't be scared off by the adjustment period. This is, I tell people this is a lifestyle and a job.
Absolutely.
I don't think a lot of people necessarily think of it that way, and I think that's to their detriment, because I think if you come in here expecting it to be like a 9 to 5 job, then you're going to be kind of disappointed and taken aback. But I think that there's so much more benefit to this than a 9 to 5 job, that the trade-off is so worth it. Yes, you're going to have to, work various hours. Yes, you're going to have to drive in various conditions and, sleep in your bunk in your truck. You wouldn't believe how many people are like, we're going to sleep in the... It's like, this is great. I'd rather sleep in here. I mean, I had a choice last night. My truck was in the shop for a couple minor repairs, and I asked them to take it out of the shop so I could sleep in the bunk, because I sleep better in that than a motel room. The only place I'd rather be is the bed in my house. So, I mean, it's just, if you're okay with that sort of, getting in that mindset that this is a lifestyle, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, it's just, keep safety in mind. And a lot of these people that you see in some of the larger carriers, they don't instill the safety culture. One of the biggest things over here that was just a great starting point was how heavily we did the Smith system, and I'm sure we still do. I'm not involved with the training department now, but the Smith system courses that we did, which is defensive driving, for those of you that may not know, it was amazing. Keep your eyes moving, looking, all directions. We'd go on a test drive in the van in town, and I remember what was the guy's name at the time that was doing that? We had Connie Chavis, and we had the Doug Akers was doing that at the time. I remember Doug would point out, do you see that American flag over there? Do you see that car moving over there 2 blocks down? You'd be making you pay attention to things. And that's a thing that, always keep, remember what you're doing out here is driving, a very large vehicle, and you got everybody around you, and safety is very important. I used to tell my trainees, I said, we're like doctors. We can't make mistakes. Minor little tiny mistakes maybe, but you can't, this is one of those industries where it's like, a doctor wouldn't say, oh, well, you know what, it just happens, you make mistakes. No, you have to stay focused. I mean, it's extremely important. But, that's another great thing about Wilson Logistics, is that we are such a safety oriented culture. I'm looking at those cones over there. We got 2 of these cones. I remember so many people like to roast us for using. Now, I don't have to yet, because I'm not a trainer and I haven't gotten them on my truck, but people would roast people for putting out these cones, and it's like, you've seen the numbers I was reading, that how, just something as little as that have taken down collisions and made visibility and stuff. And, it's that sort of safety culture that is another thing that makes us above and beyond. But, to summarize, be ready for a lifestyle change, but go into it with a positive attitude and know that you've got the sky's the limit. Keep your eyes focused on safety, and it's the success is so easy out here, and Wilson Logistics has your back. If you do what you're supposed to do, and it's so easy to just become a member of the family here and be welcomed here, and then you don't, one less thing. There's so many things in life you have to worry about. Why make your job be one of them?
Right.
Take that stress out of the equation.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you so much for letting us chat today, and I appreciate it. And thank you
all for watching.